Every one of us carries a story we don't always talk about. The quiet battles, the heavy days, the moments that cracked us open, and the moments that stitched us back together. We've all stumbled. We've all broken. We've all stood at the edge of something we weren't sure we could come back from. And somehow, through strength we didn't know we had, we rose anyway. Because inside every person, there is a spark that refuses to die, a hope that refuses to stay silent, a heart that refuses to give up no matter how dark the night gets. And that's why we're here, to listen, to learn, to witness the courage it takes just to be human. Every soul you hear on the show has walked through something that shaped them, sharpened them, and carried them forward. Everyone has a story. Everyone has a battle. Everyone has a journey. And this is where you come to hear it. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Welcome into Uncle Jimmy's podcast. Today, we welcome a woman whose story does not simply inspire, it awakens something ancient inside of every one of us. A woman who walked through one of the deepest valleys a human heart can endure and returned not broken, but blazing. Bethany Shelton, the force behind Be Limitless Now, is proof that grief can crack you open to a higher calling, a greater remembering, a deeper truth. After losing her only child, Bethany fell into a darkness that would have swallowed most. But in that darkness, she discovered something extraordinary: connection, guidance, angelic presence, and a spiritual awakening so profound it transformed her heartbreak into a mission of service. Today, she is a heart alchemist, a guide, a healer, a translator between the seen and the unseen. She helps people navigate grief, trauma, energetic healing, and spiritual reconnection. She teaches others that we are not broken. We are becoming. We are not lost. We are remembering. Through Be Limitless Now, Bethany stands as a lighthouse for every soul who has ever wondered if their pain could one day become purpose. She walks people home to their own heart, their own frequency, their own inner light. And she does it with compassion, courage, and a limitless belief in human transformation. So today, we are not just having a conversation. We are entering a sacred space, a space of healing, a space of remembrance, a space where pain meets power and loss becomes legacy. Ladies and gentlemen, family of the show, please welcome the remarkable, radiant, and truly limitless Bethany Shelton.
Yes, Jimmy, yes, that is so correct. That is so amazing. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of your frequency and a part of your audience. I'm so grateful to be here with you guys this afternoon, morning, evening, wherever you are. I am so grateful to be here with you guys.
I am
How are you?
so excited. I'm great. And yourself?
You know what? Just like we said before, if I was any better, I would think I was a twin.
So I'm so
Yes.
excited to have you on. You know, before we started, we were talking, and wait until you guys get to see her in action. And she's just full of energy. She's full of, so much passion. And we're gonna bring you her story. She's gonna get into it. She's gonna talk about it, and then we're gonna hit some questions, and we're just gonna talk like we always do. We're gonna have a human conversation, which is what's lost in the world nowadays. But we're bringing it back. We're bringing it back to like the old school 1970s when there was no internet, no nothing, and just two people talking like we've known each other our whole life.
That's exactly right.
So
That is
Bethany,
exactly.
give us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and tell us your story. Tell us your
Well,
story.
okay. Okay, by the way I talk, I know everybody's gonna be so shocked that I'm from the South.
From the South. Now, whereabouts down south?
Okay, so I have a few homes. I have one in Memphis, in Tennessee, and
Tennessee?
then I have one in Mississippi, and then one in Florida. So right now I'm in Florida, but I am such a Southern girl at heart. Yeah, I know it's hard. I know you would not ever think that by the way that I sound.
Now, where are you in Florida?
I'm actually in Daytona, the New Smyrna Beach area.
Okay. How's that going? Nice and warm?
Well, it's so bad. Look at me. I'm in short sleeve shirt. I think today was like 80 degrees. I fly back to Memphis on Thursday, so in 2 days. And guess what? I'm absolutely so excited for me. I get to get off the plane and it's going to be 32 degrees.
Just
in
like it
Memphis.
is here in Boston,
But, I love that for me.
So that's awesome. So you're from the South, and so tell us about your story.
Yeah. My story is one of absolute, what I have found in this journey of life, that when I have these life-changing moments, it's not a simple shift. It's one of these that flip my world upside down. And so I had my first shift, just one of those, moments. As a child, I was in the 3rd grade, and so my parents were told from a teacher, "Hey, we think Bethany's on the spectrum. We need you to go get her tested." And so, as any great parent would do, they're like, "Yeah, let's go get her tested." So they went and got me tested, and I came up on the spectrum as ADD. So, school for me was not just, yeah. But anyways, as great parents, they did, and the psychologist came back and said, "Yep, I did a test," and they came back and said, "Yep, she's on the spectrum. Here." And this was like in the 80s, 84. Anyway, we don't need to know numbers.
So that was new. That was new back then, you know?
Well, yeah, and here's two prescriptions. ADD. Here's Adderall and Ritalin, and give this to her before the next school year. So, as any great parent did, they gave me this medication. Well, as we know now, this is nothing more than synthetic meth.
Exactly.
Okay, so my parents administered it to me, and I started to get made fun of because this stuff absolutely, honey, when I tell you I was zombified, I mean, it totally messed me
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
And
I
I was
remember
like,
as a kid, I remember as a kid in high school, one of the things, we would do is, you'd have someone who had a prescription or something for Ritalin, and talk about like you could get in front of a book, right? And you could take that and then you'd just be focused for days, But think of it, you're a kid and it's the early 80s and you're prescribed these and your parents do what any other parent would do.
"Golly."
A
And
professional
so
tells you you have to
you
take
do
it,
it, you do it.
and you do it.
Because
Yeah.
in that time period, we thought that the medical industry had our best interests at heart.
No doubt about it.
That's what my family, so it's all about, generational. This is what you're taught, this is what you're told, nothing needs to be fixed, no questions, this is what you do. But here's the thing. So when my parents started to administer, it absolutely twacked me out. I was just it was no. So, and I'm not knocking anyone that if they're administering, if the child is receptive to it, is like, okay, yeah, sure. But I was not that child. I was like, no, 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 I don't like the way I'm being. It spills. I don't want to. I know. So one day I went and I took a bite of a hamburger, and my parents had hidden the medicine in my food.
And you
That right there shifted did my one of 3 shifts I had in my life. That shifted me. In that moment, Jimmy, when I bit into that pill, I absolutely started to feel anger, resentment, hate, rage. I mean, I was pissed.
yeah.
And so that but here's the thing is that what did that teach me? That I was not good enough. I felt that I was not good enough. That the only way that society that I could show up was through being medicated because it was not okay for Bethany to be Bethany. That's what the doctor said. That's what the teacher said. That's what everybody had told me. So I started to doubt,
Yeah.
question
At an early
was
age.
at a very young
Yeah.
age. And, so I found that to be very interesting through my life because I ran that whole program of addiction, um, that it wasn't okay for me to be me.
Yeah.
So, anyway, fast forward, a little bit. So in 2000, I gave birth to my only child, and his name is Kevin. Now this boy absolutely loves school. Loves school. Absolutely a freaking nerd, man. I mean, no, no, no. He loved school. He loved to soak in any and all kind of information. And from this point on, everything's going to be about energy, frequency, and vibration. So my son started to I told him at a young age that, hey, books can take you places that a suitcase can't, right?
Yeah.
The mind. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So he just started to deep dive into anything and everything. So let's fast forward to 2020, or we can go back to 2019. What have we all experienced? You got it, COVID-19.
We're
Woohoo!
we're all stuck in the
Yeah.
house.
Oh, yeah. So my son at that time was 19 years old and graduated high school and graduated the top of his class. Total, like I said, total nerd, total geek. And this is the ongoing laughter that we still have. And so he tested so high on his ACT that the military came to him and said, We have a test for you. We think that you would, you know, do good at, which is the ASVAB test,
ASVAB, yeah.
Yeah. Now, so Kevin tested on the ASVAB test and scored the top 1% of the top 1%. The military came to nuclear physicists. And so Kevin's like, he came back to me. He's like, I was there in the recruiting. Hey, mom, if it would have been astrophysicist, I probably would have taken it. He declined it. So this, to give you a little rundown, Kevin absolutely studied everything energy, frequency, vibration, the stars, anything with biology, science, astrology, all of this stuff that at the time, Jimmy,
I had no
Mom
clue.
had zero.
So he was very in tune with everything. Everything.
Yes. I mean,
like
quantum physics, quantum mechanics, quantum entanglement, all of this stuff, and was total into all. And I didn't have the awareness at the time. So in 2020, it was a November day, and I'm working this little third-end job, and so my manager was like, Bethany, it's like 2:30 in the morning, Jimmy. Hey, Bethany, I need you to clock out. I'm like, what? Clock out? What are you talking about? She was like, yeah, you got people out in the pot. And I was like, 2:30 in the morning. No. All right, so I pop the doors, and what do I see? I see everybody of my immediate family staring at me, and I was like, "This is weird." So I go and I look at my mom. She's like, "Bethany, I need you to sit down." And at that time, she said, "Bethany, Kevin has been killed tonight. A drunk driver crossed over into his center lane, hitting him head on, killing him instantly." Jimmy, and every time that I get to when I talk about this, it's like a lucid scream. I get a screen that drops down,
And you're
and
right there.
I'm right back there
Right
because
back there.
yes, because the sound that left my body, the scream is so rare, so foreign, and I collapsed.
I'm so
And
sorry for your loss.
and in that moment, Jimmy, guess what? I said, "Oh my God, I'm a failure. I wasn't able to protect him. I blamed myself. I guilt, shame, less than, not enough." I thought, "Oh my God."
It was
You
all
know,
your fault, you thought.
yeah, I
Yeah.
took yes,
Yeah.
yes. But, here's where it starts to get interesting. The day of the funeral, I'm in my son's bedroom and I'm on my knees, Jimmy. I am like, God, please, please give me some kind of sign that Kevin's okay. I'm walking away from the burial. It's a cloudy day. And all of a sudden, I look up. My best friend of 37 years has my arm, and she said, "Look." In that moment, the clouds parted and a rainbow popped through. And I did not and I fell to my knees because there's my sign. There's exactly what I asked for.
What you asked
But
for.
I did not understand it till a little bit later on in my journey. I was too stuck in my grief and
Yeah.
and all that, right? So it's so interesting because when I was so stuck in that first year, I don't even remember that first year
That
after his
first year.
passing. I
Yeah.
don't, Jimmy. I don't
Yeah.
remember any of it, but here's where it starts to get very interesting. In that first year, I was guided to I got a download to start writing. I've never been a writer, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so I started to receive information and I started to write it down. And up until just a few months ago, I would go back and read this journal, Jimmy, and what I found would absolutely blew me out of the water
Yeah.
because I didn't know that everything is energy, frequency, and vibration. I had
Yeah.
no idea.
It's like
Had no
being one
idea.
with the earth almost, you know?
But here's the thing is that Kevin started to communicate with me in ways I had no idea was even possible.
Yeah.
No idea.
Yeah.
Get you ready for this, Jimmy? So
I'm
one
ready. I'm
day,
on the edge of my chair, as you can see.
I
I'm
know,
leaning
I know,
forward. I'm
I
like
know,
waiting, you know?
I know. I'm on a roller chair, and I'm like, because this shit gets because everything is energy, frequency, and but this is what I'm fixing to bring to you and your audience. We are not taught this stuff, and it's by
Yeah.
design. It's
Yep.
by design because okay, so one day I'm sitting on my couch and I'm like, oh man, I need to go get in the shower. So I go in my bathroom, pull back my shower curtain, and I look, Jimmy, and I look down in in my tub, and guess what I find? I find coins, nickel signs, pennies inside of my shower. in my
Shower,
tub.
yeah.
Now, I don't know about you and your audience members. I know I don't have coins in my hands. I don't have them in my pockets.
Yeah, you're not hopping in the shower with a bunch of handful of coins, you know?
I don't have a lottery dispenser.
Yeah.
What is going on? So I pick up one of these coins and it has my son's death year on it, 2020. I look at it, but I'm not conscious. I'm not aware at that
Yeah.
time. I was like, well, okay. Several days pass by. I get up out of bed one morning, make my bed as I normally do. That night, I come pull my sheets back to get in my bed. And what do I find in my bed sheets? You got it, Jimmy. Coins,
Another penny?
coins. And I'm like, what is going on? But I'm still not able to put it together.
Yeah.
I'm not that aware. I'm not that conscious. I'm not.
Yeah, you're not in
2
tune
weeks.
yet.
No, no,
Yeah.
but it get so 2 weeks pass by. I vacuum my whole house. I go put the vacuum cleaner up, Jimmy, and when I come back into the living room, guess what I find on my freshly vacuumed floors? Now, these coins were not just there. I just vacuumed. I just vacuumed.
So some more coins.
So I pick it up and it has my son's birth year on it,
I
2000.
was just gonna say that.
Yep. And I was like, man, oh my gosh. So I didn't know, be unaware of this. So the only thing I knew
So
to
in
do
your
was,
head now that it's starting to work. It's starting to
well,
click, like something's going on. Yeah.
I start
Something's
to
going on.
question.
Yeah.
I'm in the question, like, what in the world is going on here? Because this hasn't, this anomalies, this hasn't happened before. Something is trying to gain my awareness. So the only thing I knew to do was call my mom. And I was like, Mom, I was like, oh my God, I am finding coins all over my house. She said, oh my goodness, Bethany, I am so glad that you called me. Your father and we are finding coins all over our house too. And I was like, what? She said, we're finding them everywhere. She said, I think it's Kevin. I said, shut up. No, no. So I hung up the phone, Jimmy, and I walk out onto my deck. And I was like, hey, Kevin, hey, buddy, if this is you, man, can you show up for mom like a bluebird or a redbird? Jimmy, the very next day, everywhere I turned, there was a cardinal or a blue jay.
Or a blue jay.
Everywhere. Now, I'm not talking just like one.
Yeah.
I'm being stopped.
Yeah.
It became so consciously aware that this is exactly what this is. And I said, oh my God, oh my God. So right then, I said, this is absolutely amazing, amazing. So a few nights later, my son comes to me in a dream. He was like, hey, Mom, hey, are you ready for this? And I was like, what is what is going on?
Going on.
Yeah, I'm not, because I haven't had anything like this in my whole life. He said, "Hey, Mom, guess what? We're gonna do some studies." And I was like, oh, "Yay!" But he was like, "Hey, Mom." He's like, "When I was in my body," and he called it his concrete shoes. That's what the body is. He said, "Mom, the body is so dense." He said, "Mom, when I was in my body, you and I communicated on the same frequency." And I was like, kind of like the same frequency that you and I are talking right here, right now.
Yeah.
So we're on the same playing field on a frequency level. He said, but Mom, when I dropped the body, died, and I rose in frequency, energy, and vibration. He said, but Mom, guess what you did? You dropped because you chose grief, sorrow, blame, shame, guilt, less than, not enough. And I was like, what? He was like, yeah, go research that.
Everything you've.
So, yeah, and I said, so I had to go do exactly what he got to go research that. Guess what I found, Jimmy?
What'd you find?
So, when on emotional intelligence on a frequency level, grief vibrates at 75 hertz. Pro vibrates at 30 to 50 hertz. Guess where death vibrates? Zero hertz. So you mean to tell me when I was unconsciously choosing for myself to feel, think, and believe grief, sorrow, I was vibrating right next to death.
Yeah. Oof.
Huh?
Yeah. Yeah, because you're almost essentially, inside. You're almost, you're getting up those mornings, like you said, the whole year after your son Kevin passed. you don't even remember it. So it's one of those where it's, your energy level, everything is just brought down,
But here's the thing that we are not told, we were not taught. It's by design that every single one of us have an electromagnetic field. It is an invisible field that precedes us at 6 to 8 feet out in front of us. Now, when I was choosing to feel grief, hurt, blame, shame, my electromagnetic field would constrict and restrict in on me because that is a lower, denser frequency. Guess what that does to the body? That puts the body into fight or
or
flight.
flight. Yeah.
Guess what happens when you choose that enough? You will find dis-ease because your body is at dis-ease. You are not in rest and repair. We were not taught this. We were told from our ancestors all the way down that this is how you grieve, you mourn. But guess
Yeah.
what? That is by design and it is cutting you off energetically, emotionally from higher states of awareness, higher frequencies, higher dimensional beings. And what? That's where our crossed over loved ones, that's where the angelic, that's where our indigenous, that's where God's source is on a higher frequency. But if we are operating in a lower, you're not going to have that communication and connection.
None
There's
at
not
all.
that's just not a thing. You can't vibrate at a lower aspect and think that you're going to have higher aspects of communication. That's not a thing.
Yeah.
No way. No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. It's just
Yeah.
impossible.
That's not a thing. But here's the thing. Here's where I was absolutely blown away when my teams and came in and said, "Hey, how do you think how how do you think that we were programmed and taught lower aspects of frequency? What is one piece of technology that we all have?" And I did this. I was done this way. My son, I taught my son this way. What is one piece of technology that we are unaware that we all have running in our homes that could bring these lower aspects of frequency into your home? You ready for this, Jimmy?
The internet?
No,
What
no, no. Guess what?
is it?
What is a TV? Now a TV is a television through visual and audio on repetition to get an emotion. All right, now check this out. Now children from the ages of 0 to 7 operate on theta waveform. Now guess what? Is the same waveform as hypnosis.
Okay.
0 to 7. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what happens when you set a child down from the ages of 0 to 7? They are in hypnosis because guess what? Children from 0 to 7 intake information through visual and audio on repetition to get a emotion. I'll give you an example. All right, when we were children, I'm going to use my vape
No problem at all.
as an example. Hey, this is pink, pink. This is this is a frequency, but we were taught through visual. The color form is pink. We hear the color pink. This is pink. Yay! Way to go! Way to go! To get an emotion.
Yeah.
Good girl, you got it right. Right. All right. So check this out. Now, when we were all children, how many of us put our child down? I did. My parents did it to me to sit down and watch Disney, Pixar, holiday movies. How many of us did that?
Everybody. Hour
Yes.
after hour after hour, just keep them busy.
Yes. Yes. All right. Well, guess what? When my teams came in and told me to research this, how many of us have sat down and watched Bambi? Bambi, Little Finding Nemo, Brother Bear, Spirit, Cinderella, all of these, Dumbo,
Yeah.
Pinocchio, all of these, Dumbo, all he wanted to do was to fly, but he was told that he was less than, not enough, because he had big ears. He was separated through grief, separation, loss, because his mom was taken away. Lion King, Lion just poor Simba just wanted to be, part of the pride, but Scar told him he was less than, not enough, and put him out in the Badlands. And his dad, Mufasa, died, or I think I got that right,
Yeah.
died. And all of these are a frequency. These are all a frequency of grief, less than, not enough, unworthiness, outside of yourself, Cinderella. You always look outside of yourself for your Prince Charming. All of this has been taught, told, and programmed into us on a frequency level.
Yeah.
And as we got older, we still tune in to the lower aspects as news. These are all fear-based. All of this has got us from not connecting within our own heart space, within that higher frequency. Because we were taught that, you have to be a good human. You got to get the right answer. Be a, think, 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 think. But what if I told you that your mental body, your mind, is a piece of technology along with your heart?
Yeah.
But we were not taught how powerful our hearts are.
No, no, we're only taught that our heart hurts or our heart loves, and it heals. And, we're not taught. Yeah, it's different, and like you said, with the frequencies, with, kids watching, watching TV and programs and the news media when you get older, it's all pre-programming almost.
What I would really like to really incorporate to your audience is to look at it as frequency, as energy, because our bodies are made of almost 90% water. Now, what happens when you project a frequency out into that water? The water is programmable. Dr. Emoto has shown through this that water is programmable. You can show a picture to water, and we did an experiment not too long ago, so I want to share this experiment with your audience. So, okay, we took some plants. We took some plants to a school, and to show the power of words, because your words are spells, spelling words. When you cast them, when you speak them, that has a frequency, that has a vibration. So we took these plants to the local school, and we're like, "Hey, can we set this up?" And they were like, "Yeah, sure, go ahead. Great. We would love to show you this experiment." So we took 3 plants that all had the same nourishment, same lighting, same water, same all of it, same potting, same soil. But we asked the children to come and speak. Now, the first plant, we told the children to totally ignore. Don't give it anything. Nope. Just
Just keep it
don't
moving.
even, yeah, just keep it moving. The second plant, we told them to speak negative. I hate you. I can't stand you. You are worthless. You are absolutely a piece of shit. That's fine. The second plant, they talk negative to it, just absolutely just words that I'm impressed by, but absolutely just was negative to it. The third plant, you speak love. I love you. You're amazing. You're a vibrant being. All of these amazing affirmations to it. Guess what happened?
So again, to recap, the first one, you didn't talk to, you just avoided
Mm-mm.
it. Second one, negative, talked really bad words. We're not going to say here. You could say them if you wanted to, but kids are kids. So kids say the darndest things. And then the third one, you did nothing but show love, appreciation, kind words. And what was the
Right.
result of that? The third one grew,
Oh my gosh. The man,
overflowing.
okay. I mean, the one that you ignored had wilted, just you could tell that it was still hanging on, but the second one, the negative, absolutely died. I mean, wilted, totally crushed in on itself. The one of love absolutely flourished. Your words, the things that your words have volume, they have frequency, they have power. You are the most powerful being in your reality. And when you share the frequency of that of what you are, everything reacts to it. So we were not taught that, it's so easy to blame, shame, guilt, less than, not enough to somebody else. But what does that do to their body being an aura, their reality? Yeah.
Shuts them
Yeah.
down almost.
Shuts them down. And
Yeah.
if I mean, there's so much I could really, yeah.
You got me, like, because I'm sitting here thinking of, certain times, whether it was friends or people you grew up with, or, people I work with, or
Yep.
relationships. And, when people cast those things on you, it's one of those things where, and I'm a naturally,
Hmm.
shut down type person anyways.
Mm.
I like to keep to myself often and, stay busy, but it's to think that, the negativity and, I'm real
And
big on spreading love and kindness and
yes.
just trying to be the best human being that you can be, because we're all in it together and we only have each other.
And that that is the thing, that we are all in this together. And I spoke to you earlier, we in quantum physics, quantum entanglement, there is no thing such as distance. I am sharing my energetic field with you right now. You're sharing it with me. And
Yeah.
any of your audience members that tune in that are in they will receive the frequency of that of what we are. Now,
Yeah.
if you are unaware, untrained, and unacknowledgeable, and you don't know what's going on in your field, guess what? You are going to get breached by a lot of things,
Yeah. No doubt about it. Yeah.
and you're gonna take it on as if it's your own thought process. And I want to share a story real quick with you, Jimmy,
No
that
problem.
brought this to my awareness. So last year I took my family to a beachside place down in Florida. I said, "Oh, let's all go. Oh, this is gonna be fun." So all of my family came and they had their coolers, had all of their groceries, and I was like, "Yes." So for the first 3 days, we stayed at the beach house. We didn't go anywhere. Great. On that third day, my aunt looked at me. She said, "Hey, Bethany, we're fixing to have a cookout. Do you mind? I don't have the hamburger buns. Can you go to the store and get the ham?" Yes. Yes, I'll go to the store. Jimmy, I get in the car. I'm headed to the store. I am so excited because I know what the potato salad's going to taste like. I know, you know what I mean? I'm excited. So I get to the store, and when I pull up, nobody's there. And I was like, yes, yes, this is great.
Right in and out.
Yeah, yeah, well, yeah, that's what I thought. And then when I get my buggy and I'm headed to the bread aisle. I get to the bread aisle, Jimmy, and I look up and there's now 15 people in the bread aisle. And I'm like,
Yeah.
"What in the world is if anybody's simulation is like my simulation, it knows how to simulate." I was like, "Oh my gosh." So I push my buggy and I go, I'm a quarter way down the bread aisle. I grab my hamburger buns, I put them in. Well, guess what? Guess if you remember what I talked about just a moment ago, our electromagnetic field, guess what these other 15 beings are fixing to meet before they meet the body, the being Bethany? They are gonna meet my electromagnetic field.
Yeah.
Yes. So as I'm pushing my buggy, I'm going, they meet my energy before they meet me. And guess what I found? I brushed up against Debbie Downer, Trainwreck Thomas, Negative Nancy. And before I get to the checkout, I am now having these thoughts, feelings, emotions that I cannot identify with. These are not thoughts, feelings, emotions that I had before I came into this store. And the only thing that I did was shimmy and shake next to these other people. I got into their fields. And by the
Right
time
into them.
by the time I get into my car, some asshole pulled out from me. Now I am absolutely raged. I am pissed off. I'm aggravated, agitated. I am ready to just like
You've letting all everyone else's energy get into you.
But that's the thing. That's the thing that we are not taught about. We are not taught about energy, frequency, electromagnetic fields. We are not taught about how when we quantum entangle, how we are not taught about any of this by design, Jimmy.
Yeah.
So one thing that I could share with your audience is gaining awareness of what your mental body, we all have a mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, etherical, you know, causal. I could go on and on, but I won't go into that much. Let's just talk about the mental, emotional, and physical body. Your mental body is your antenna. It is what you project, what you put out into the quantum field. If you are unaware of and you are allowing your mind to run off and you just let it just do just do whatever it chooses, you are unaware of the frequency of that thought that you're putting out to the field. Guess what? Like attracts like. So guess what? If you are thinking grief, sorrow, but blame, shame, guilt, less than, not enough, guess what you're attracting back to you? Woohoo! You got it.
All of that.
All that right back. But here's the thing that we were talking about the heart just previously. Our heart is the magnetic. So your mental body is what's projecting, putting out into the field. Your heart is what's pulling the experience back to you. So if you allow your mind to just run free, you are a victim of your own reality.
Yeah. Yeah, if you
Yeah,
let your mind free, you're going to let everyone else's thoughts, everyone else's perception, everything affect you
everything.
in the wrong ways and sometimes in decent ways, but not the ways that if you're in tuned with everything where you can block them out, you can shut them out, you know?
This is my own personal belief. My personal belief is that I came here to have this human experience to know thyself, to know thyself. And what better way to know thyself than to be the observer of the thought, of the emotion, of the frequency, of my physicality, and without a judgment, without a point of view, and just feel.
Just
Yeah,
feel.
right?
Yeah?
Just because what I tell my clients, feeling is healing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because when
Yeah.
you operate through your heart, you are feeling, you are healing. And when you drop the mind, when you drop the ego, when you drop the expectations, you are therefore you step into a totally different frequency, a totally different state of being, a totally different awareness. And when you start operating from the higher aspects and get out of the victim mindset, you can then attract that of what you are.
Yeah. Yeah, I think oftentimes that's been some of my problems in life, being the victim and life sucks and unfortunately, sometimes you have that shift like you've talked about many times, the shift.
But Jimmy,
Recent
we
What
weren't
we say?
we weren't taught
No.
any of this, buddy. We
No.
weren't taught. So for you anybody to have this aware, I mean, we weren't programmed to operate in the space and place in which that I'm sharing right now. We weren't. You're not supposed to. You were going to be labeled, and somebody's going to have a point of view. But when you stop giving a shit about what others think and how and you totally step into your heart and start operating from a place of love and compassion and understanding, you're only going to attract that of what you are. And when you start to start to choose to absolutely vibrate in a frequency that is so magnetic, that is so powerful, that is so, just full of joy, laughter, love,
Yeah.
man, your life becomes one big, party.
Well, exactly, and that's like I was saying to you about me, so I'm learning to operate at those higher frequencies and not
Yes.
let people bother me. So this morning, I was up for work. I have to be at work at 8 in the morning, but I was up at like 4:30 this morning and I couldn't sleep, and so I went and got my coffee about 6:45 this morning, and this is the photo that I took this morning, and look at that.
Nice. Yes.
You know? And that was
Yes.
one of those beautiful sunrises over the water where I said to myself, you know what? I'm just operating on a different level now.
And you are.
You know, because
Your teams are
before
here.
I would be in the car at 7:50, racing to get there by 8 o'clock. Nope, this morning, and I said to myself, I had my camera in the car, and I said,
Hmm.
I'm gonna go get the sunrise. I'm gonna go. I'm back to doing things because I'm on another level now.
You are.
Things that I used to love, things that I used to appreciate. And
And it's
that's why we're having this conversation to let people know that when you're thinking outside of how they want you to think, and not worrying about what others are saying. You're on another frequency. Life, like you said, it's going to be a party. It's not going to be a party just one day. It's going to be every day. It's going to be every
every day
second of every day.
because that because once you drop the victim mindset, and here's the great thing for your audience to think about. Am I reacting or am I responding? And what's the difference? Okay, so reacting is doing the same thing because that's how you always done it. That's just what I do because
Yeah.
he pissed me off or she pissed me off, and I'm gonna let them know because they affected me, they hurt me, and I'm just gonna blame shame and
Yep.
we can snowball it. But here's the thing, you have a choice in every present now moment. Now, are you going to react or are you going to respond? And in responding is taking a step back and say, because if you react, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome is what? Insanity.
Insanity. I was going to say that's the
Insanity.
true definition of
It's
insanity.
exactly. And
Banging your head off the wall 100 times, thinking something's going to change on the 101
yeah,
time.
and doing the same thing over and over again and say, "Man, I don't know why he responded that way. I'm gonna do, but that's how I've always done it."
Yeah.
But no,
Exactly.
you're being insane. So
Yeah.
to respond is to take a step back from each now moment, everything that comes to you, and say, "Hey, you know what? I'm gonna choose something different for myself so I can have a different outcome, a different possibility to come into my field." And that takes awareness. That takes you dropping the ego. the
Yeah.
pride, the
The big
judgment,
thing, the ego, the
the
pride,
big,
exactly.
all of that. Because
Yeah.
when you start to become a creator being, because you are the creator of your own reality,
Yeah.
you are.
Yeah.
By anybody giving their own power away and say, "Well, that happened to me because," no, baby, no, no, you chose to give your power away, and by you choosing, I am the most divine creator being in each now moment. And you know what? Even if, let's just say, your husband comes to you or your wife comes to you and she's a total beat, you know what? You can respond in a different manner to get a different outcome. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
huge.
Well, and the biggest thing I think my listeners need to listen and hear is in here, and here is that you can snatch your power back. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be your life every day doesn't have to be the definition of insanity of doing it over and over, and your days don't have to be Groundhog
Nope.
Day, waking up every day doing the same thing. You
Nope.
are your own creator. You are your creator of fun. You are your creator of love, of space. You're
Yeah,
your own. And when you
that
get
is.
in tuned, with that, you'll see. Like I said, for me to get up early, believe me, I'm never up early, but today was one of those days where I was just feeling it, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do something different. I'm not gonna rush to work. I'm feeling great.
Yes!
Life's going, and look at the beautiful sunrise I caught.
That's
You know,
exactly it. When you become conscious and aware in each now moment, the little synchronicities, the little messages, the little things such as the sunset, like you said,
yeah,
anything, the birds, the
yeah.
dolphins, the waves, everything becomes so magical because you are conscious, you are aware, and you get
There you
to
go.
experience it.
So
And
magical.
you're grateful. You're
Yeah.
grateful
Oh, that was
on
the biggest thing. Yeah,
and the
yeah.
thing is, you know what, Jimmy? Gratefulness vibrates at 900 hertz.
Wow.
Yes, joy vibrates at 500 hertz. Guess what, Jimmy? We weren't taught any of this. So why not choose something different to get a
Exactly.
different outcome?
Yeah.
And when you start choosing those elevated states of awareness and being, man, your whole life changes,
Just
stuff like that.
changes.
And it's effortless because you are choosing something for yourself,
Yeah.
not to benefit anybody else, because this is what feels good to my heart and into my being. So I'm going to keep on doing that. And once you start doing that enough, it becomes, you're like, there's no freaking way I'm going to go back to that dark, lower
No.
aspects, that blame, shame, guilt, lesson, fear, arguing. I'm not, none of,
There's
no,
no
that
stopping you.
there's just not.
No.
And believe me, when you start to choose that, when you get back out into the grocery store to get your hamburger buns, you are a frequency, and that you are that, and it ripples out. People that come into your field, they might not be conscious of the vibration, the energy of it, but they feel it and they recognize it, and they're like, oh yeah, there's something about,
There's something about her.
him, or yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so really being conscious about what you're putting out, because
Yeah.
that's what you're gonna get back.
Got back. Yeah. Yep. I'm a firm believer of that. If you put out
That's exactly
negativity,
right.
you're only going to get negativity. You put out positivity, it's going to come back and, in tenfold,
Yeah,
you
like I
know?
said, like attracts like. So if you're choosing negative, you're only gonna get negative back. If you're choosing positive, but it takes, because you weren't taught, you weren't programmed, you weren't told about this. So it takes a conscious choice to start to figure out, to start choosing differently for yourself. So yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Jimmy, this has been an awesome.
I'm having a blast. You don't mind answering a couple questions?
I would love to answer a couple questions for you.
Perfect. Perfect. So, what does be limitless truly mean to you on a soul level?
Be limitless to me on a soul level means absolutely stepping into your highest potential. Because you know what? I was the only one that put limits on myself. To be limitless now is to be conscious and be aware in each now moment. And that's what my company is here to do, is to help other beings that have struggled. And it doesn't have to even be with grief. It can be with grief of a loved one, grief of a pet, grief of a parent, grief of anything, because we've all grieved.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, Be Limitless now is, I am teaching other beings how to connect, number one, with their hearts, with themselves, And when that happens, you will have connections with your galactic, angelic, indigenous, and extra dimensional beings. Because when you start vibrating and raising your frequency, the higher intelligence come in.
Is going to go in, exactly.
Yep.
So what are some of the transformations you've witnessed in people that you've guided?
Oh my gosh, I have had so many clients that after working with me, they get that communication and connection with the unseen, unknown, unheard, unacknowledged. And that's the thing that I go in a space and place and I remove the unconsciousness from the subconscious, and therefore we can bring in another different realm of possibilities into the field. Yeah, because when my clients get to me, their cups are already full. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so what I do is I go in and extract that of on a energy and frequent, and programs that they were taught, told, all the way from, their ancestors. Because when they come to me, I can see their field. It's kind of like a record player. I can see it, and I can see where the beliefs, where everything is locked, blocked, and stopped. I go in and I assist in pulling that on an energetic, because everything's energy, frequency, and vibration.
Yeah.
Everything, everything. So I go in and I pull that out. And so after working with me, that cup is not as full, so we can have a different experience come in.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. So
Yeah.
what is the biggest misconception people have had about spiritual or intuitive healing?
Well, once again, this goes back to the whole thing that we've talked about this evening, is that we weren't taught this. We
Not at
were
all.
taught about big pharma and
Yeah.
about, someone outside of you that can heal you, when really you're giving your fucking power away, because you are the healer. You
You are.
are that of everything that you wish to experience. You can choose that, but we are not taught, told, or made to believe that this is possible. We've
Yeah.
been told to doubt ourselves, to look outside of ourselves, just like Cinderella, just like Pocahontas, just like, yes, there's going to be a
Preach.
magic, there's going to be a
Preach.
magical, there's going to be a magical prince that comes in and saves you. But once you realize how powerful, how magnetic, how what a divine creator being you are, yeah, your whole reality shifts.
Yeah, and that's one of my I think one of my biggest shifts was realizing that nobody's coming to save me.
Nobody's coming to save you.
I'm
You
going to
are.
save myself. I'm going to save myself.
And that's the
That's what I
thing.
learned, That's what I've learned. A couple more questions. I hope everyone's going to love this. Yeah, everyone's going to love it. So, what do you tell someone who feels guilty for healing after losing someone they love?
Well, you know what? That right there, the guilt is what is keeping you from healing.
Yeah. Yep.
You
And you
can't
talked
heal
about that
with
earlier.
yeah,
Yep.
you can't heal with that energy, that choice of guilt, because by you carrying that, you're not going to connect with your crossed over loved one. And here's the thing. What about this? I would like to raise a question with your audience. What if death? Because guess what? Just like I see you, Jimmy, you have a body, I have a body. This is just the shell, right?
Exactly.
Because I have a spirit, I have a soul. The soul doesn't die, the body, the shell does. So
Yeah.
what if death is the death of the shell, but it is a chance for you to reconnect with the soul in a different light, with a different manner, in a different way. But once again, it goes right back to the whole thing. We weren't taught, we weren't told about this, but how interesting. Why? And how do you do that? You start choosing differently. You start to choose the higher aspects, because that's where the soul lives. The body, the shell, lives in the three-dimensional space, not the soul,
Not the soul.
the body,
Exactly.
the body.
So, what surprised you the most about your own healing journey?
Oh my God, what surprised me the most about my own healing journey is I blow myself out of the water. I'm like, oh my, because this has just been all divine guidance. My son has been my biggest teacher, because before his crossing, I had zero knowledge about energy, frequency, and vibration.
Yeah.
And you know what? This is what has allowed me to step into my purpose. This is exactly what I signed up for. But Kevin taught me this. He's like, Mom, you and I had a soul contract that you was, you were going to experience grief, loss, separation, and I was going to give that to you on a human 3D
Yeah.
level, a body level. But yeah, this is
And he
exactly
got
what
you, he started getting you there with with the coins and the blue
oh,
jay and the birds.
that is
So
just, I could go on and on about other ways he's communicated. That is just a few because he has blown me out of the water, Jimmy.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. So one more question, the last one,
Okay.
and before I do my closing. So when you envision your work 5 or 10 years from now, what do you see and what are you building?
I am absolutely building a community of unity. I am here to shift, share, show that there's a different way, a grief done differently. There is a different choice. There's a different possibility. There's a different energy to share. And I am here to shift, share, and show that grief can be done differently. And by you grieving is cutting you off from experiencing.
No, and you've heard her story. Bethany's turned everything, her pain into purpose. So before I do my closing, Bethany, let everybody know where they can find you, where they can reach out to you. Let everybody
Yes.
know.
All right. You can find me at Be Limitless Now, BEE, like a bumblebee, Limitless Now at .com, or and you can find me at Be Limitless Now on all of the things, all of the socials, TikToks, IG. And I have a podcast that I do every week called check this out, Jimmy. Holy Shift Balls Awarenesses. So
No,
yeah.
that's awesome. So Bethany, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, Jimmy. Thank
You
you
know,
so much for allowing me to be a part of your audience and with you today.
Thank you for your courage, your honesty, and the sacred truth that you brought into this space today. Your journey is not just a story of survival. It's a testament to the power of love, the resilience of the human spirit, and the possibility of connection beyond the veil of loss. You remind us that even in the heaviest moments, we are never abandoned. We are held. That grief is not the end. It is the doorway. That healing is not forgetting. It is remembering who we truly are. Your voice, your mission, your heart, they are gifts to everyone who has ever felt broken or alone. And today, you reminded all of us that we, too, can rise, transform, and become limitless. Thank you for sharing your light, your story, and your heart with us. We honor you and we appreciate you, and we are better for having you here. Thank you so much, Bethany. Thank you so much. Peace and love. Peace and love. Uncle Jimmy out. Thank you so much, Bethany.
Thank you, Jimmy, so much for your time and allowing me to be a part of your audience. It was an amazing podcast.
I had so much fun. I would love to. Here we go. Oh, it's just gonna start recording again. Still trying to figure this all out, but yeah, I'll let you know when it's edited and when I put it up. And I can't wait to listen to your podcast. Can't wait to get this out to my listeners. And I'll keep in touch.
All right. Thank you so much, Jimmy. You have a great evening. From
Thank
my heart
you.
to yours, have a great one. All right. Bye-bye.
God bless. Thank you.
Bye-bye.